Pop Talk and Aliens, the William Clear podcast.
Is there not a sweeter sound than her voice introducing this podcast? I am William Clear. This is Pop Talk and Aliens, this podcast, and as promised, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Crabtree.
Hello, Bill.
Thank
you. Thank you. You're too kind, too kind.
Thank you for coming. I've been threatening everyone that you'd be on. You have been on via clip shows and things like that, greatest hits, if you will, but been almost we're a couple weeks shy of an entire year since we've actually sat down. And
it's been a while, but to be honest, your services and talents were needed elsewhere. Aliens have descended on our planet, probably been here for a long time, but they're picking it up. So
yeah.
Thank you for the updates. Thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for enjoying it. You know, like I said, I just compile these things and you know, I'm no expert, but I can do the work and then just put it into one place for you. And we are going to do a little bit of that for you, dear watchers, listeners, if this is in fact on YouTube. I'm not sure yet. But listeners, we're gonna summarize our thoughts about Ahsoka, but also we've curated some of the weirder and maybe not weird theories that have been floating around about the show. And Charlie, I think a good place to start is to say that when Star Wars fans, we've talked about this, when they start theorizing, that's usually a good sign.
Because great sign.
Right?
It was literally after the two shows were over, we were texting because I think we were staggered by like 15 or 20 minutes of when we watched it. And it wasn't even to talk about first, like how much we liked it or not. It was speculating, who is this person? Who's tied to that? That's the best stuff. That's how you know it was good. Like, we're going to talk about it. We have some problems here and there with it, but overall, spoiler alert, we loved it. So you can end the podcast now.
Sure.
But the fact that it's starting those type of conversations, it's been a long time since we've gotten to do that. So super excited.
Yeah,
super exciting.
Usually this early in a Star Wars show, it is like, please get better types of videos and stuff, or you know, like, is this, you know, I don't know. People.
I mean, our first take is always we loved it, Bill. Like it's after a while when things cool out. Like, well, it was good, but maybe not as good because we were just excited for a new show. This is not that.
Exactly. I think yes, you and I both have that initial reaction of, oh yeah, that was great, and we like this, we like that. We'll excuse these things that we don't like, and then it's like over time you think like, you know, I've never really wanted to go watch that again, so maybe I didn't really like it as much as I thought. But this wasn't, oh, that was fucking awesome, that shot of all the Mandos coming out of the ship, and like, it wasn't that. It was like you said, who do you think, what is this guy going to be all about? What do you think about this? Is this going to connect to this? And it's not just us doing that. Like, obviously there's bad reviews. There's people, the usual people that complain about everything that Disney puts out, no matter what, who probably aren't even watching it half the time, are bitching about whatever they're bitching about. But in terms of like legit criticisms, we can get those out of the way and then just get into the theories and what we liked. I think.
Hey, you guide the tour, sir.
All right. Well, so yeah, I mean the fans' complaints, and this is also a good sign. They seem to be constrained to things that happened within the show, rather than, oh, Kathleen Kennedy this, and there must have been this shitty writer and all that. They're not talking about that stuff. They're talking about things that happened in the show that they didn't quite like because they like so many other things, such as Sabine getting stabbed in the stomach with a lightsaber. Well, I guess in the liver, if you will, and living.
Can I just say this, that like that and like some of the pacing stuff, because they had to explain basically the whole plot of 4 seasons of Rebels in 2 episodes to at least connect viewers that were tuning in for the first time. When you start with the opening that the show had, with Baylan and then Ahsoka's like intro, those two together back to back, best start of any Star Wars show ever. It was so
Absolutely.
good. I mean, it was like better than some of how like the movies have started. It's like A plus 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 plus. So you got to get into story. You got to bring in characters. There's nowhere to go but down from there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
there's all kinds of new characters to us, but then also new characters to someone seeing it for the first time. It assumes you know who Ahsoka is, but that's about it. So they have to explain all these other people.
Yes. And
It's gonna hit a brick wall, right? Of momentum at that point. When you start that hot, um, and they did do a little too much. Just to be fair.
They did let it, yeah, they let it linger. I get, obviously, if you're watching this, listening to this, it's going to be riddled with spoilers. Why would you be watching it if you haven't seen the show yet? So we'll assume you have. But yeah, for those people who haven't seen Rebels, and that's a lot of people, a lot of more casual fans have not seen that show, or maybe haven't even seen Clone Wars either. So they just know Ahsoka from being on The Mandalorian. Like my mom watches every movie, every show. Never seen a Clone Wars, never seen a Rebels. It's just Rosario Dawson with the two lightsabers to her. So
well, look, you and I barely like Rebels almost didn't happen for me. I tried to start that show 3 times, and I couldn't do it. It was too Disney HD. I didn't like the way the art was done. The character seemed annoying at first. But that also happened with Clone Wars, but like that only took 1 or 2 stop starts. Rebels was like 4 or 5.
yeah,
And once
yeah,
it gets going, it is very good. But
yes.
you have to put in work to get through that first season.
Yeah, you do. I had the same exact experience. Like I didn't even watch Clone Wars for a long time, and it was our friend Bob Mary who was like, "Dude, it's not," because I kept calling it that fucking cartoon, that fucking cartoon. And he's like, "Dude, it's not a cartoon. I mean, it technically is, but it's an animated. It's like cinematic. You got to watch it because we saw the movie in the theaters, and it was people hated Ahsoka. It was garbage, that movie.
She was
And
annoying.
yeah, Sky Guy and Snips,
Ezra also starts pretty annoying, and
way
by the
annoying.
end,
They
you're
all
into it.
are. They all are. But you stick with it for a bit, and all of a sudden, now it's like Darth Vader's coming in, and you got the world between worlds. You got all this crazy shit with the Force, and Ahsoka pops up, and then and it's great. So you get to know those characters, and here they are. And the best thing, Charlie, you talked about how great the opening was, and how it was as good as Star Wars. It was George Lucas fucking Star Wars. They did a crawl. They did a crawl, not the floating into space crawl. Like reserve that for the
Vertical,
movie.
no lean back.
Right, keep that for the movies. But a blood red crawl with all the things capitalized that need to be capitalized, like 3 paragraphs, perfectly structured, and then a ship. Boom.
Yeah.
You get a fucking spaceship. And you get Balin's skull and Shin Hati, or as I like to call her, Charlie, Shin Hati.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Thank you. Yeah. She's cute.
The two of them together, that best casting ever. Like just every second they're on the screen, like you're just locked in.
Yeah, they are. Ray Stevenson, who played Balin, and he died shortly after the production. So may he rest in peace. Is built to play a character like that. He's like, you can't take your fucking eyes off him when he's on screen. Even if he's doing nothing, he's touching nothing, he's saying nothing, he's doing nothing. You can't stop watching him.
That the subtle acting of okay, this is just what's going on right now, and if you're along with it, then good, and if you're not, you're gonna die within seconds. So like there's always like he starts with like good first. Hey, no, we're just here. We just got to go talk to this prisoner. It's all good. He's gonna walk by in the opening scene, right? And the most overconfident general in the entire galaxy happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I'm gonna call his bluff.
Yeah, I'm gonna call his bluff. Right. What did you think was gonna walk off a ship like 2 people claiming to be Jedi? Right. And they show up like, it's like me and you.
Yeah, it's a couple of droids.
It was like a handgun blaster, No. Yeah. So God, I know. Anyways, so you get the sense that like he doesn't want to do this, like he's trying to do it the good way, and then as soon as it's like this guy's in my way, just go to instant like death.
Yeah,
Very good at that. And even when he's going down the hallway, Vader has like the that Vader scene of just like going through like all kinds of rebels and stuff. He's got a mask, right? But his face acting during that, he's just so like, it's just so matter of fact.
Yeah, it's
very fucking awesome.
It's so great. And also when you contrast that with Shin, who goes up to the bridge and kills everyone, and she's got like crazy eyes.
Yeah, sure.
And she's like all intense about it. And he's just like, you guys all would have been fine.
I didn't want to do this. He's just like ricocheting blasters back at everyone, all perfect hits and stuff. Dude's badass.
That shot from the hallway where you don't see him and you just see two blasters hit guys and kill them, and then he walks in and he's not carrying a blaster. Like he just deflected those back. That's you're like
they were battle droids, right? Like just fuck. All right, fine.
It was very reminiscent of that too. It had a little Phantom Menace. It had a little Episode 4. Filoni is so good at just the DNA of Star Wars, of injecting it into it so that you just feel like you are in Star Wars. Like I loved Andor. I loved it, but it's like a show about the other side of the tracks. Where it's like they don't do the stuff that they do in the normal show, but it's still there. It's still in that universe, but it's not about getting those feels. It's about this separate thing, which is, I'm glad. I hope they do more shows that are sort of off the beaten path. But this one felt like, I felt after the first 2 episodes, like I had seen at least part of a Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got that type of thing?
100%.
That's so great.
Just like within like the first 3 minutes, you're like, oh, this is going to be fucking really good. There's no way though. That was the whole point of starting this part of the conversation. At some point, you have to start explaining who is who and why, and it's going to slow it down. But they leaned in a little bit too much. I get it. You have to go back for all the people that don't know any of the backstory of some of the people you're about to see. But there was a lot of sitting around and talking.
There's a lot. There's a lot, and it doesn't. My problem with the sitting around and talking, like just real quickly, I loved after the scene with Baylan and Shin that we were just talking about on the ship where they kill everyone. You get Ahsoka doing the puzzle and everything, and it's just music and her doing that. Like I love that. I thought like it goes on a while, but I was there for it. It was like
I love that. It wasn't a bunch of talking though.
No, there's
like
no
explaining backstory that I already know. I'm like, okay, we get it.
But it was escorting you into the universe, just getting you, acclimatized to where we are. The way George
but immediately
Lucas
followed by like her messing some robots up in a very cool way. So
and then you can only go down from there.
You get a little Star Wars video games, you get a little Indiana Jones, and you get Ahsoka. All in one. It was awesome. Perfect intro.
Perfect intro. And then they just lingered too long on the Sabine arc. Who is Sabine? I mean, the thing too was that like they give you so much about Sabine, and and then Hera shows up, and she's just kind of like, yeah, I'm the general. She's from Rebels. I wonder if anyone, but they didn't give her a lot.
No, I know, and she's awesome in Rebels. I wonder who got more screen time in the first 2 episodes. Like what the counter is, Ahsoka versus Sabine.
It's a good question. Probably
because right now it feels like taking a main character so that they can help create another main character at the sacrifice of the first main character. The show is called Ahsoka. It should have been her more. You could have, had Sabine as the attaché, the attachment. You still could have learned and picked some of this stuff up over time. The fact though, I'll say this, the fact that they, instead of stretching out learning about the past over 6 or 7 episodes and just kind of slowly getting it out, does make me think that now that that's out of the way, it's go time. There's no more to talk about. So let's get on with the show. So they're kind of clearing like, it's going to start now.
Yes, I agree. I think that is definitely the way it's going to go. And I mean, I certainly hope so. I don't know what the fuck else they have to talk about in the past at this point.
Right.
So now, moving from that, the idea that, you know, and this is again goes back to like what we were talking about after, and what a lot of people are talking about online, is that now like there's a fucking story going on here. The show is, it's not fetch quest of the week, which I'm
Right.
fine with. You know, Mando was like that. It was cool. You know, you wrapped up every episode in the beginning, then it started to get arcy. But it's not, or even Andor, where it's like, okay, we're building in these sections of 3 to this resolution, and it's like again like a Star Wars movie, where now you've got these mysterious bad guys, you got this mysterious fucking witch from the Night Sisters, you've got this mysterious brand new galaxy, you got Thrawn out there, Ezra's out there, who the fuck is Marok, which we'll talk about. There's a lot of nuggets dropped in these first 2 episodes,
Absolutely. Tons.
even between all the talking.
Yes. I mean, I'm leaning into the criticism more. Look, when I was done watching it the first time through, I wasn't like, that was boring. Like I loved it. So I was happy with it. And then in hindsight, like, all right, maybe they spent a little time there. So in real time, first time watching through, it wasn't like, this is trash, and like, you know,
Yeah.
turning the TV off or throwing the remote at the TV screen. It wasn't like that.
Right. No, same. But it was like I've watched it a couple times now, and it does go on a while. And the other, just the last on the list of things that people didn't love about it, and I mentioned it briefly, but Sabine got stabbed in her midsection, not her stomach and spine, with a lightsaber. And you know, a lot of people have said that Qui-Gon Jinn's death is becoming less and less impactful, because he also got stabbed right in the middle, and he did die, whereas Reva got stabbed, the Inquisitor got stabbed, Sabine got stabbed, and they all lived.
Yeah.
I will say that
even when it happened, because I was watching it with my son, he's like, she's dead in the first episode. I'm like, no one dies to this anymore. I said that.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even trick you for a second. Like, no one dies to this anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Kylo Ren also, yeah.
A lightsaber through, like, it wasn't even through the gut. If you watch like where it comes through in the scene, it's higher up. It would have went through like a lung and stuff like that. And when you see the scar when she's sitting in the bed, like, it's lower. It's just through the guts. It's fine.
Well, here, if I may show you something, Charlie, is it's an image because someone, let me know if you can see this here. This image of
it's coming up. Okay,
there you go. Right, this is
it's not low in the guts, by the way.
This is the side.
A lung is at least gone at that point. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Half a lung. I'm not trying to justify it, but here we have
if I put a stake of molten lava through any part of your core, Bill,
yes, no, I agree.
Fucking die. I'm not the worst horrible death that anyone has ever died. So yeah, I get it. His is center by like
I'm just
6 inches, right? Whatever, man.
I'm not trying to justify it. I did not like it.
They need to stop doing this. There's another move, guys.
Yes, in the old days when we grew up, you cut off a limb. This is the new limb cutting off. But you see, the thing is, when you, as we have established many times, like when you cut off a limb, cauterizes the wound. It's not your internal organs trying to communicate.
You get a kick-ass robot arm, you know, that's all steel and even better.
Yeah.
So it's to serve a plot point that her and Ahsoka have fallen out. You know, they're not friendly anymore. She's going to do things her way. She knows what's best and how to do it. She's young and angsty and tough. And
she's a Mando.
She does it. She's a Mando. She's a Padawan Jedi. She might be a witch. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
She's like every aspect of Star Wars in one person, but also kind of an asshole. So she has to fail to the point of almost dying. That's what it's going to take for her to finally like, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I do need help. I get it. You don't have to stab someone. Like, there's a million ways to deliver that plot point.
Well, Charlie, we've talked about this before, but I think the best, most effective effective way to kill someone with a lightsaber is Luke Skywalker on the skiff above the Sarlacc pit when he's wrecking dudes on that thing consistently. Charlie,
Mm-hmm.
upper
slash,
diagonal slash,
slice him.
You slice him.
Actually, not. It's the head cut, but
there's less
second
room.
most effective.
Obviously, a head cut off is most effective, but when, like in Luke Skywalker's position in that situation, like he's dodging lasers and shit, he doesn't have time. This is a smaller area to focus in on, right? So you just get the big target. You got a huge target. You got this whole whole torso. You don't stab. You just whoosh, every internal organ done. Dead.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, a stab through the midsection is setting phasers on stun for stormtroopers. And guess what? It does like get her on the ground. You know how quick it takes to just like with a lightsaber, just a quick slash and heads rolling.
Right.
No. Right off the camera, like right off the screen.
They would, right. Yes. What if they had in the scene before that where Balin tells it where the Morgan Elsbeth, the last surviving Night Witch, apparently, or descendant of the Night Sisters, not Night Witches, says, send this one to Lothal, meaning Shin. Mm-hmm. And then Shin's like, what's her angle? What's she spinning? And Balin, in all of his gravitas, without even doing anything, says, no, there's no witchcraft. You're going to Lothal to find Sabine Wren. Maybe, I'm not defending, I'm just kidding. Maybe there was a scene after that. There was one more line that they cut where he was all, and lightsaber on stun, please.
Yeah, that's right.
Stabs only, sir. Stabs only.
A theory that she did it on purpose to get her out of the way, but maybe she sensed something in Sabine. If you want to, you started mentioning witches, so.
Let's talk theories, because there's a lot out there, and we've compiled some for the entertainment and ease of our audience not to have to sift through a million YouTube videos like we have.
Yeah.
And one of them is that possibly Shin Hati is a witch.
Well, somebody is. So Star Wars is very big on like, okay, there's always a master and an apprentice,
right?
Which comes in threes. You don't introduce a one of something that that comes in a pack or a pair.
Right.
And not have them, at least in that story arc, finding to complete the three. Or the one trying to find the apprentice, which is Ahsoka, right? The whole time, she's trying to find her apprentice this whole time or get her back, right? And the apprentice needs a master. They need the duality to make it.
Right.
So now you have a witch that we know that come in threes, and we've introduced some already, at least one, maybe two candidates of who might actually have those type of powers. Sabine being one, Shin being the other.
And that could be, and I think that, you could theorize that maybe those become the three witches. You get one from, this Padawan, and you get that Padawan, and then the Night Sister talks them into shit. They're very persuasive, the Night Sisters. They're using a whole different, they're playing on a whole different level. Well, and you get to this galaxy, this new galaxy and stuff, who knows how things are going to work.
Well, look, the story in Rebels, and then in these two episodes, went out of their way to let you know that Sabine is the least force-wielding wannabe Jedi ever. Right? Yes. They say it in Rebels, and then they really go out of their way to make sure that they say it here too.
And
with that damn Jedi robot.
Yeah. Hun Yang.
So
who has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years.
She has some kind of power. She's dreaming. She's seeing visions. She has enough of something to be able to hang with Ahsoka and at least be some sort of a apprentice. We don't know how good or how bad. So if it's not the Force that she's wielding, what is it?
And that only remains to be seen. The only other clue in on that, because that was a point of huge speculation before the show started, is Sabine going to be Force sensitive? And it was very divisive. A lot of people can't be Force sensitive. We already established that she's not. And I think Filoni is aware of that stuff. Filoni's more in touch with the fans probably than anyone else at
Sure.
Lucasfilm, right?
Of course.
Because he is one. And so, you know, it's like he's went out of his way to have a droid qualify himself as like, I have been around for hundreds of years of Padawans, and you have the least aptitude for the Force. So it's like he got that out of the way. But again, yeah, like you said, she's having dream vision stuff like Anakin. You know, she can wield a lightsaber. She did wield the dark saber in Rebels.
I mean, to be fair, she's a Mandalorian, so it's not like she's just like some piece of shit off the street. Like she's battle hardened, right?
Yeah,
she's trained since birth to be a warrior.
Yes.
So there is that.
And in Rebels, she was quite a capable fighter and an explosives expert and an artist. So,
and a Jedi and a Mandalorian and maybe a witch. And what is there anything else that she can be? Right? Like just she is all Star Wars running through one character.
Right. A Sith.
Maybe he's up on that, a Sith and a Jedi and whatever.
man, and maybe a witch. That's right.
Maybe a witch.
And maybe a witch. So okay, so there's that. It remains to be seen what will happen with Sabine's abilities and stuff. But there's the one other little clue is, and we know that in trailers for these shows with Star Wars, they only show you clips from like the first 3 episodes, maybe. The clips that we have seen that have not yet happened, so maybe 3 or 4 episodes, is her fighting Shin in some forest, and Sabine has the short hair, so it obviously comes after this. And obviously, because we didn't see it already, Shin says to Sabine, "You have no power." That's in the trailer. Now I don't know. Again, this is you speculate on trailers. You're going down a fucking rabbit hole of your own choosing.
Sure.
But
sure.
She does say that, so I
don't know what that powers means. Jedi powers.
You don't have powers. Witch powers. You don't have Jedi powers. You have some Mandalorian. No, I should say you don't have Jedi powers. You maybe a witch.
The powers of observation to see that everything you're doing is a bad choice.
But it would be great if she listed all the powers she didn't have and then said maybe a witch.
Yeah, right.
So that's the theory. The other big mystery theory. Well, there's 2 more. The obvious is, who is Baylan and then Shin, because they are obviously not complete dark side users. Shin wears a Jedi Padawan braid. That's not a Sith thing.
Right.
Orange lightsabers.
They're not Siths.
They're not Sith. They're not
Jedis.
They're not Jedi. Same with Ahsoka.
That whole speculation path just from their backstory alone is really exciting.
It's so fun. And it's also, again, going back to how good he is and how good she is. I mean, she doesn't have very many lines, but just like her face acting is just the way she's like looking at him, and she kind of gets pissed at stuff, and she kind of gives you her take on things, Shin, I'm talking about, without saying anything.
And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but clearly at times she's questioning and not bought into something that someone's saying. And I can't tell if it's Baylan or if it's Morgan.
Yeah, she does have. Is
she reacting because he's kind of pushing back? Is she reacting because what Morgan asked her to do in the first place? Like, why the hell is she asking us to do this? Like, it's hard to tell. But she's not bought into something, or she's learning things in real time that this isn't maybe what I signed up for, or this seems like we're altering our path here.
Yeah, she wants to get down to business, and she's even asking Baylan, like, well, what does all this mean? I feel like she's like, I mean, I don't. This is just speculation on my part, but I feel like she's very need to know from his point of view. Like he kind of tells her things as they go, because she asks a lot of stuff, like what happens when we
like a kid, which
a
lot of people think she's his daughter.
Right.
He was like a good Jedi. We know that he knew Anakin at one point. So that lightsaber was green at one point, and it's turning colors, turning towards red. Something happened while he had to flee Order 66, has some secret daughter or real daughter, a daughter after, it would have to be after, because he would have had, not really, because he's about the same age as Anakin.
Yep.
He clearly at some point had to make a choice that altered him going down the Jedi road, similar to Ahsoka.
Right. Exactly. Which is so great. The parallels.
Two ex Jedi, one trending bad, one trending good. One's got red lightsabers that she turned white. Will probably become a Jedi again by the end of it. Him starting green, going to orange, probably ends up red at some point.
And the orange itself is an Easter egg. I have a Star Wars poster right on my wall where one of the first 1977 posters where Darth Vader's lightsaber is in fact the exact orange of Balin and Shin's.
That's cool.
That was just an art thing for the poster, obviously. They probably didn't even know what his lightsaber looked like, but
you could do it in the video games too.
yeah, yes,
you could have a
yellow,
orange. Yeah,
orange. Yeah, I think for people who read High Republic novels, they got fucking every goddamn color of the rainbow lightsabers.
I don't think I knew that. That's good.
I mean, I don't know.
I read one.
It's not like they have pink and shit, but I mean, there's orange, there's yellow. They're more different types of lightsaber colors than the traditional, old school Star Wars. Which, by the way, just side note, there was no intention of having, from George Lucas himself, of having any colors except red, green, and blue. And they even have this conversation is even on the DVD of the making of Revenge of the Sith, where they have the conversation where Sam Jackson's like, "What color is my lightsaber gonna be?" And Lucas is like, "You want green or you want blue?" And he's like, "Is that it?" Like, "Yeah, that's just how it is." He goes, "What about purple?" And then George Lucas is all, "Maybe purple." He had purple. Like that's what it took. We have invented and as Star Wars fans and authors and everyone have made this. That's kind of like Lucas. We'll leave it up to other people to come up with a reason for that, and then it's
right.
The reason though for him makes perfect sense. He fucks with the dark side a little bit, and it affects. So his lightsabers. It's not quite blue. It's a little red there.
Right.
So but Ahsoka's colorless, just white, but she's moving on, Charlie, to the next big theory, which is the character of Marrok, the hooded, this guy here. I'll share my screen again for those of us who want to see it. If you want to see it, the character of Marrok, this guy right here. He could be Ezra. He could be. Very few say this. This is one of the crazier theories, but Anakin or a clone of Anakin. I'm not buying that. Or he could be Starkiller from the Force Unleashed video game, who was Darth Vader's apprentice only in that video game. It's the only time he's featured, but he was actually more powerful than Darth Vader. He could lift Star Destroyers. He could crash Star Destroyers with the Force. He was incredibly powerful, and he was played via mocap by Sam Witwer. And it has been revealed that Sam Witwer's name is in the ending credits of the second episode of Ahsoka. And on top of that, Sam Witwer, in an interview from, I'm not sure when it was, but said that Dave Filoni had considered putting Starkiller into a show as an Inquisitor, because that's kind of what he originally was.
Right.
So a lot of different things and also the Starkiller's actual name was like Merrick, very close to Marrok, but that could be deliberate Filoni misdirection. How he is.
So this is one of the things that I saw online, which was really, really interesting. Merrick is one of the Knights of the Round Table that a witch, and I think you told me this, named Morgan, turned him into a wolf. Right. And then you have like all the Jedi wolves and stuff let's not get into the wolves, but from Rebels.
Rebels, there's a lot of wolves.
Very, 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 very possible, very likely probably that whoever that is maybe under the control of that witch.
I believe that, yes.
Or a good guy pretending to get close and be at the right place at the right time. There's that angle of it too. Ezra, I don't think so. Starkiller, like, Filoni's greatest ability is to tie in anything and everything from the fringes of Star Wars that he liked that weren't fully canon and make them canon. Every
Yes.
time he brings a new thing in, it's like a dead Jedi gets his wings. You know what I mean? Or he gets like a big Disney bonus because like now there's more books to sell, there's more action figures to sell. And he's so good at it that they're just like writing checks, just like, yep, you got another one. Cool. Yep, another one. Here's rev share on like
right.
So the fact that it could be Starkiller, something from a video game, open up a new line of things, legitimize something fringe, like a Thrawn, right? That was pre-Disney, but still like bringing in a fan favorite or something that would be very convenient for Disney if that was kind of legitimized. He's a master at it. So my guess is it is probably the Starkiller angle. It's not Ezra. Ezra's with Thrawn somewhere.
Yes, I totally agree. No, not Ezra. Anakin clone stuff ridiculous. I think we will see Anakin for sure, either as Force Ghost or in Clone Wars flashback, or both.
There is footage of Darth Maul and Ahsoka.
Right, behind the scenes footage, right? Someone's like snapped a picture.
And he's from the witch planet and he's hanging with a witch. So maybe it's Maul or it's like a Maul lookalike or someone like his twin brother or his, like people are like, he's dead, ? Right? Because it's the two of them. Ahsoka, like now.
That time period, he would be dead.
Or a total fake out or something they tried and didn't do. But there is footage of that. You can find it online.
You're right. And not only that, I'm going to see if I can find it real quick because I know that that's pretty prevalent. But not only that, but he, I was thinking, first when I saw that picture, I thought, oh well, maybe it's a flashback to when they were fighting on Mandalore. But when they fought on Mandalore, they were fighting in the palace and only in the palace. So it's not going to be. If it is that, it's something new, and it could be on Dathomir, or it could be on, maybe he is alive in the other galaxy. Looking for that picture.
Got a witch from there. He's from there. Like it's a very easy tie-in to find a way to justify. Plus, that guy's been dead and alive like 5 different times at this point. So the unkillable Darth Maul.
If anybody's death insults Qui-Gon, it's fucking his, man. Or anybody coming back to life insults Qui-Gon, it's him.
That's true. He got like barely stabbed through the chest. The other guy got cut in half, and one guy's walking around with robot legs.
Yeah, and the other guy has to die in his apprentice's arms.
Yeah,
but he did live a while, Qui-Gon.
Whatever.
But so a lot of ways that you can go with that, with the Marrok angle, and also like what the possibilities are if you go to another galaxy. Like it opens up a lot of things, and some fans, Charlie, believe that the sequel trilogy will be something that could be quote unquote retconned, which, how you hate the word canon?
Yes.
I hate the word retcon the way you hate the word canon, because it's not used correctly.
Right.
Retcon does not mean to get rid of something. Retcon means retroactive continuity.
Yes.
Like the perfect example that I always use, I've probably used it on the show before, so forgive me, is when George Lucas did the special editions and he changed Boba Fett's voice to Tamora Morrison to match the clones. That's a retcon. He is retroactively providing continuity to.
I know what it means. Bill, stop explaining it to me.
I'm not explaining it to you.
I'm not a child.
I'm not explaining it to you. I'm explaining it to the audience because it is so widely misused.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. I got you, dude.
I just like to clarify it because I also when I use it incorrectly, I'm using it incorrectly because of popular usage, not because I don't know what it means.
Okay. We're good, dude.
That's all.
You all right?
Yeah, I mean,
pissed off.
No,
really pissed off about this retcon. Look, if you started throwing canon around, it'd be the same way. I get it. It's like every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it just grates on me. It grates on me, and so
We're talking about, and we're going to bring in this new guy to the Star Wars canon, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this.
And the obsession with retcon the sequels. That's the other thing it's
So
just,
where you were going, I think, is that we can just invent this new galaxy and then we can do whatever we want. And then all like the Star Wars haters that you ruined my childhood can never feel that way again. Right?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like this whole video. Look, I mean, say what you want about Star Wars Theory. He's got, you know, some good points. He's got some shit, but I mean, you can't argue with the fact that he is the king.
It's a good pause though. I mean, you're making him look like a real dumbass. So like, is he going to say something good?
Does he need my help with that fucking hat? Well, it's, you know, this just came out yesterday, so I wanted to play you just a minute of this because a lot of fans think this way, and this guy is, you know, galvanizes a huge army of fans. I mean, he's gets 12,000 people watching Ahsoka with him live. You know,
3.3 million
show in the first.
What's that?
3.3 million subscribers, dude.
Yeah, dude, he's not.
This guy's got heat.
He made that Vader movie.
Yeah, yep. Let's do it.
Okay, so something really amazing that I think Dave Filoni has done in the Ahsoka show in the first 2 episodes already is the fact that he has created another galaxy to go to. And herein lies perhaps a theory that maybe is partially going to make a lot of fans right who are talking about retconning the sequel trilogy. Now, I don't necessarily think they'll ever retcon the sequel trilogy. I don't think they could do that. I don't think Disney would do that. I don't think it's going to happen. But what if they created another realm, another galaxy to go to, where a lot of these characters can maybe go to and get stuck or be in for a while, and they don't come back to the one in our timeline, meaning the sequel trilogy kind of just stays as its own thing, and Ahsoka, Sabine, Hera, Chopper, everyone else goes into this other galaxy, and that's where they've been this entire time, during the sequels, during whatever. So I'm thinking that this is kind of ingenious in a way, where not only is it super interesting that he's creating this completely new realm, which will have other maybe Force users or wizards or witches that use magic, or something we haven't even conceived yet in Star Wars Legends or anything like that. As Baylan said, that place, Peridia, as the kids at the Jedi Temple would talk about, were just fantasy and lore and make-believe, is actually real. And it's a place that has more power than you could possibly imagine. I mean, what the heck is this galaxy? What is...
All right, yeah. So, but that...
I'm just going to ditch our podcast and just go watch the rest of his, bro.
Well, I mean, you know, there's a reason 3.3 million subscribers.
Yeah. I mean, there's a million different places that thing can go.
But it's funny how there's always there's this fantasy among certain fans that just hate the sequels so much. And look, I get it if you hate them, that's fine. I don't hate them, but whatever. There are some that hate them so much that, like, the idea, any inkling that they might do something that delegitimizes them is like, oh, what if the other galaxy? It's like that. But I mean, I as far as, I mean, he calls himself fucking Star Wars Theory because this is what he does, come up with shit like this. So
it's very good. I will say this, Bill.
Hmm.
There's no way on earth that they're going to delegitimize something that they, you know, already spent billions of dollars on.
Yeah,
no fucking chance.
Right.
However, it gives them license in the future to do other things. Be like, dude, it's in the other galaxy. Fuck off. We didn't ruin your childhood. This is Star Wars Plus. This is over here now.
Wow.
And if you follow what Disney has done, because essentially what they're doing is they're creating a multiverse, and Marvel is everything worked its way into a multiverse. It's across every franchise within the Marvel universe under Disney. So Star Wars multiverse, here we come.
Yeah.
For sure. And then it makes fun but low stakes because it's not core.
It's kind of like,
you could put Luke in there. You could have him doing whatever the hell you want in Darth Vader mask, like destroying people. Here's how what would have happened if he would have turned dark side. Now you get to go see that.
Right. And yeah, and you're right. It's low stakes because it's the other galaxy. But then you could imagine if it goes that way, right? And like, and in 10 years, there's going to be like, you know, there's like original trilogy fans and the prequel generation, and now there's going to be like Star Wars Prime Galaxy fans and Star Wars Peridia Galaxy fans. Crazy. The possibility, but you know what? I love it. I like.
I like it. Look, at this point, like I have the core and it sits here, and then there's everything else. And like there's parts of the everything else that I love. Like anything that happened before, after, whatever. I almost treat them as two separate things anyways. So really, other than like the original three, everything is lower stakes. And then like, okay, then the prequels, a little bit higher stakes, but still lower stakes and so on. So like go wherever the fuck you want.
I think I totally agree, and I think that's one of the reasons that we like the way we view Star Wars is so much similar in many ways. I think one of the core things is that we both think like that. Like we grew up, we were old enough to see the original trilogy in its original run, and lived through all the years of not even having a fucking VHS to watch. We just had to play it out, and then special editions finally come out, you know, and so we like to us, we got to experience all that. So every new Star Wars show that comes out isn't fucking make or break. Star Wars is dead.
Right.
I hated Mando season 3. Star Wars is dead. It's like it's fine. Like yeah, because you know, Charlie, and I have notes, so we won't get sidetracked. But this is something I was going to mention. I can watch the original movies with the prequels and or sequels and or shows in mind as part of it, or just as their own thing, because I grew up with watching them that way so long.
Totally.
Can you have that also?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
See, that's I think that is something that is just inherent to our generation. That if you grew up with Revenge of the Sith, for anyone, you know, under 30 something, is their fucking Empire Strikes Back. 100%, and Clone Wars. They love it. So
I don't know. This ties into like the end credits. That was a big thing where there's artwork that looks like the World Between Worlds that was featured in Rebels. No one watching this probably saw that. Ahsoka was caught in there at one point with Darth Vader fighting to the death. Probably died in there. They found a way to pull her out of time. It can also lead you to another galaxy. I think that's where Thrawn and Ezra are, right?
This is that we're seeing, yeah. That map at the
Yep.
end of the show right there. All kinds of planets that we know and many that we don't.
Pathway to the other galaxy, but is it via in the World Between Worlds? Is that the only way to get there? And that's where you're going to find Ezra and Thrawn trying to find a way to get into that other galaxy. Or they already found a way to get into it and they're in it. So they got to follow them through all the, the time tunnels or, you know, portals or whatever the hell that they are. But I'm wondering if we get, all right, first, do we get to see the World Between the Worlds? I
do not know. I think, you know, that is a rabbit hole of discussion that's been, you know, millions of YouTube hours have been talked about the World Between Worlds. I don't know that Dave Filoni is going to want to use that. I know that he said he doesn't want to overuse it. He doesn't want to use it as a device because then it could just become like a time travel. Well, let's just go fix the sequels.
They're going to go create a multiverse anyways.
Well, I think if you have another universe, it's like, it's maybe a parallel universe or it's a related universe or something, but it's not breaking the rules of, or creating its own new rules, I guess, as World Between Worlds did in Rebels, of time and space where you can change things, or, you know, as Dave Filoni said, like you can change some things, but other things have great consequence. Like that's just time travel.
Well,
that's the butterfly effect.
It seems very clear that Ahsoka went in there with Darth Vader. They left and said she's gone. She probably died in there.
Yeah, I think she died in there. And then, it's so fucking complicated, man.
And they pull her out, but then they try to do the same with Kanan and Camp. We don't have to get into the whole Rebel story and start arguing that, but it is a significant place in the Ahsoka story.
Yes.
If we happen to get even like a 10-second glimpse of like them seeing some flashback of her in the World Between Worlds fighting Darth Vader, I mean, worth it. Worth it. Even if it opens up into all this other shit of parallel universes and stuff, multiverses, seeing that would be worth it. It would make it all worth it.
If they went in, I would be in
or
favor.
seeing her die by his hands.
That would be crazy. I would be in favor of something like that. If they went into the world between worlds and they merely saw things that had happened or could happen or were
Yeah.
happening, but did
Yes.
not affect anything, I'm totally
Yes.
on board with that. If they go in there and they're like, "Hey, let's make Kylo Ren never be born so that Luke doesn't turn mad and make the fans," don't fuck with
No,
time.
no one's going to do that.
No, I know they're not, but I'm just saying, like, let's not bring Kanan back. Just if they go in there and see crazy shit, though, like, and we got to see her fighting Darth Vader, that would be amazing. Which, by the way, that was one last thing I wanted to touch on, the whole Starkiller rumor, or not rumor, but theory. It's just a theory that Marak is in fact Starkiller. If that's true, then him fighting Ahsoka is Darth Vader's apprentice fighting Anakin Skywalker's apprentice.
Fucking the coolest thing ever.
That is pretty cool.
That it is like with a bow on it, dude.
Yeah. I
How
kind of lean towards that.
How can you not do that?
I'm kind of leaning towards
They've got
that's
this
what it is.
mysterious character. He's somebody, clearly he's being hidden. He can hang with Ahsoka, right? Like they're fighting, and like she just doesn't overpower him and take him out, and she's very, very strong. So Anakin's apprentice versus Darth Vader's apprentice. That would be like the coolest tie-in you could think of. And Filoni's a bad dude when it comes to stuff like that. He's very good at that kind of stuff. I would be surprised if it was. Oh, God, at this point, I'll be disappointed if it's not. It's like, no, he's just, who's this guy behind the mask? Oh no, he was like some stormtrooper named Joe, but then the witch put him in the thing and like is controlling his mind. Like, fuck.
Yeah, he was
wasted opportunity.
I mean, it seems to be leading that way, but I don't know. Like, Filoni is also good at misdirection. He did that a lot in Clone Wars and Rebels, where you start to think something's going this way and then it goes that way. But my feeling about him, the reason I won't be disappointed in it if it's not that character, as long as it's done well. And usually when Filoni like makes you start thinking that something's going to go this way and then he goes that way, it's not like the Rian Johnson thing where it's just like, I'm just going to make it go the complete opposite way. He just bends and slides it somewhere else. He doesn't just like say, well, oh, nothing happened.
Starkiller's pretty deep. Like you have had to play like a certain video game to even know who that is, if you even remembered what that was.
And it was like the 90s, right? Or early 2000s that game came out?
Yeah, something like 2000s, not 90s.
Yeah, because they had mocap and stuff back then. But that's a fucking old game, and it's a pretty niche game because that game came out like not when Star Wars was at its height.
Dude, I almost wish you didn't. If it doesn't turn out true, now I'm going to be like 100% disappointed.
For real?
It's going to have to be. If it's not that, it has to be something like that tops that.
Yeah,
for me to be excited about it now.
Right. I think it's going to have to be at least that big. Otherwise,
the true legacies of Darth, Vader, like, well, no, there's a son running around out there. There's two apprentices from the good version, the bad. I mean, dude, it's cool.
Maybe it's a Luke clone. Maybe it's Luke. What about this, Charlie? I'm gonna come up
with
the
craziest. Like he's doing it to stay close to find out what's going on, and then reveal himself at some moment, like at the right time to kill Thrawn. Maybe he's trying to get close enough. He's staying in that mask. Sure, something like that would be really cool.
Well, because there is the question of where is Luke in all of this? Like, is he not interested in taking down Thrawn?
I don't know.
She's saying that he could start a whole new war, and then she is hanging out with him in Book of Boba Fett, which timeline-wise is a little hard to pin down as to where that is in all of this. I happen to think this is after that, but it could be. Supposedly, there's a couple of years between Mando 2 and Book of Boba Fett, so this could all be happening then. I don't know. I feel like I trust Filoni. I actually trust that he will give us the down low on all of these things as we go. So that's one of the reasons why I am so goddamn excited to see the rest of it.
There's a million directions it could go. Hence, where we started the whole episode. It couldn't have been that bad. Like, look at how long we've been talking and speculating about who this person could be. Where are these people coming from? What does it tie in? What is it not? Mission accomplished.
Yeah, after two episodes. And we will talk about
one more thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you one more thing too.
The coolest thing in the battle with him is the no look lightsaber dodge.
Oh
Ahsoka
yeah,
does just like
yeah,
she's looking at him. She's just like, "Fuck it, come on."
yeah.
Very cool, man.
The
There's so many good
fighting-
moments like that. You know, it's funny. We've been talking for an hour about Ahsoka, and we haven't talked about Ahsoka.
That's yeah. Well, and that's one of the things about the show is that she's kind of like people have said like she's very stoic and she's kind of just like putting things together and getting people get this person get that thing grab this the key to the map, but she hasn't really done anything yet. I have full faith, dude. Dave Filoni is fucking loves that character. Like we're gonna get plenty. I think I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, no.
But you're right though. I mean, like to start off with, she's not the star of her own show yet.
We're learning about what she cares about and why, who she cares about and why.
Yeah, exactly. And she is also, you and I have talked about this, like she's of the Yoda lineage. She is like she's never been in live action until Mando, but coming from the Clone Wars, she's one of the most significant Jedi ever.
She's core
Yoda?
to me. I consider she's direct lineage of Yoda. She's core.
Direct lineage.
And like my favorite at this point.
She's awesome. I
favorite Jedi.
Rosario Dawson, I think kills it as her, which is not an easy thing to do. She even with the like she does these sort of like gestures, like her body, her gait, her body language and everything is very much like the animation. She does it.
I mean, she's like, she can do no wrong in my book. She's A plus is plus infinite, right?
Yeah, and I think the entire cast is awesome. I have no complaints about any acting or weird choices.
No, that's a good point.
Nothing.
I had no problems with anyone who plays it, including, hey, Ewan McGregor's wife. You want a job?
Yeah.
Hera.
Mhm.
I loved Hera too. I like the actress who played Sabine, even though I was annoyed with Sabine at times. The plot point of, hey, do it this way. And then, no, I'm going to do it my own way. And then, of course, it goes wrong. And but that was annoying. But like the actress who plays her, not annoying and good.
No.
When she cuts her hair and she's like bought in, like, all right, there's the real Sabine. Let's go.
She's gonna be great. Good. Yeah. I think just a couple other things to touch on that type of stuff. One of the things that made me very happy, production value. The thing fucking looked great. My main complaint about Obi-Wan was not the complaints that you typically hear. It was more, well, you do hear this one, but like, I didn't have a problem. I didn't think like it broke canon or anything like that. But I did have an issue with some of like, remember the scene where they fought with the fire? And it looked like a fan film?
That was one of the
Never
biggest
mind.
travesties to that whole show.
Even forget about the ridiculous plot that he just left in there. I'm just talking about the way it looked.
Yeah.
It looked like a fucking fan film. Like and there was a lot of it that looked like a fan film. This to me,
I'm 48 years old without any force power, Bill. I could have jumped over the fire. It was so underwhelming.
Yeah, you run across the tuck and roll, but
yeah,
I mean,
dude, been fine. It was very badly done, but yeah, let's not get into Kenobi.
No. I'm not saying it's getting into Kenobi. I'm saying it to say that like they also shot this probably primarily in that volume thing, but it just fucking looks so good. Like it looks expansive. It does not look claustrophobic. It looks it looks legit. It looks like Star Wars to me. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I think regardless of who's directing this one, like Filoni was extra meticulous. This is his, like this is his baby, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he wasn't like asleep at the wheel for Kenobi, but not as like watching over every single frame, every setup, every single thing that they were going to do. I mean,
he had no official position on that show. He got special thanks. That's it. He had no title.
Well, he has a title at Disney of like vice president of content or something like that. But it's clear, like, not a stitch of clothing, not like there was nothing that he didn't like go over.
And the music, I thought
the music was incredible.
Kevin Kiner has been scoring all of the Clone Wars, all of Rebels, and then they, movie comes, no, not you. Solo, no, not you. Another TV show, no, not you. And he's finally, and I mean, some of that, dude. There's a Star Wars mix on Spotify of everything, right? I don't know if you've seen that, but it's literally from. It goes in chronological order. It's got all of the movies, obviously. It's got all of the Clone Wars soundtrack, the Rebel soundtrack, the fucking video game soundtracks. And one time I was like, I've never really listened to the music from Clone Wars or Rebels. Like, I mean, I love it in the show. And I was listening to it and I was like, God damn, dude. I mean, this guy really is, I don't want to call him the poor man's John Williams, but he's like in the tradition of, and some of the music in Ahsoka was a little bit different than that, but it felt like Star Wars movie music. And they had the wipes, the clock wipes and the fucking, all that stuff. Just Star Wars DNA. Filoni, he knows what he's doing. Studied at the feet of the master, and he's a fan.
I'm excited. The only question I have for you is, Filoni directs episode 1, and he's known to have directed episode 5.
Yes.
What happens in episode 5? Is that when we find out who? Is it Merrick or Marok? How do you say his name?
I think it's Marok.
Is it Thrawn and Ezra? Is it so we know only he's allowed to direct if a prime character comes back? Or have they done that without him? No, Bryce Dallas Howard got to do a Luke, right?
She got to do a Luke, yeah.
But it was second time. So closed set, no one can know about it. Everybody's locked down. That's a Filoni episode.
Yes. And my guess, just a guess, is that's the Anakin episode. That's what I would put that on. I think
they're not going to do that for an Anakin flashback, are they?
Well, if that one trailer that had Anakin talking, and it was
they had that in Kenobi, right? They had both of them. He came back, and it wasn't anyone that special that had to come in and direct it because of that. So
no, Deborah Chow directed all those.
Yeah, right. So it makes me think maybe there's got to be something big, right?
Well, it's definitely gonna be something big for sure. It's not gonna be just some fucking random episode for sure. The reason I think that, and I could be wrong, dude. I totally could be wrong. The reason I think that is because the voiceover in that ad, it's Anakin, it's not Force Ghost Anakin. He's talking about the Clone Wars. He's like, you're going to be fighting more than droids in this war, blah blah blah. So I think I think there will be a Clone Wars flashback, and I imagine that if they do that, Filoni would be like, no, I'm Clone Wars guy. I'm directing this episode.
Guys, I get it. It's cool, but my dad, George wants to make sure that I do it. He says no one else can. So I've totally let you guys. It's cool, but he's making me do it. I'm sorry.
But you're right. It could be, or maybe the Clone Wars flashback is just a part of that episode, and then that episode is also the big Thrawn reveal, or it's the fucking Marok is Starkiller thing, or whatever.
Next episode, shortest episode of any Disney show, second shortest.
Right.
That's going to be travel, figuring out how to get to this thing.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen. We don't find Thrawn or Ezra. Episode 4, probably setting up for 5. So I think we have 2 more we're not talking about the past anymore. We're in real time. We're traveling. We're going places. Some cool stuff happens, but nothing major. And then 5 is when we break something open and it takes it to the next step.
I agree with that completely. And last thing to remember is that Filoni is going to direct that movie. So this is not all going to wrap up at the end of this show, at all.
Is it the movie that comes right after this, or is the movie could there be 2 seasons by the time the movie comes out?
I think there could be 2 seasons by the time the movie's going to come out, but I can.
Well, with the writer's strike now, especially.
Well, right, God knows now, but I think that there is. I've heard that there is and isn't going to be a season 2, but I've heard more that there is. Although I don't know if the movie has changed that, but the movie will be connected to this though. They've said that in the movie is going to be all of the Mando verse, which would be all of this and Filoni Mando verse. And the Filoni verse, yeah. And then so Thrawn, all these characters, Mando, probably some Boba Fett, maybe a little Luke. Like, that'll put asses in seats too. Especially
And
if
then
the
it
show
would be
goes off
weird,
well.
right? You have a season 1, a movie, and then like a season 2, 3, 4. That's
No,
ambitious as hell.
I think that if they do a season
If you're
2,
trying to get people to watch the show and you want more Disney subscribers, by the way, that's a great fucking way to do it.
to
Wait, what's
put-
this show? Because like lots more people will see the movie than that
Yeah.
are watching, like, that are subscribed to Disney.
Right. Especially if it's all of that stuff. Grogu is going to be in there. I mean,
Want
it's
to
going
grow
to be.
the audience? Stock is tanking, by the way. Disney stock not doing well. That's a good freaking strategy to get a lot more subscribers if that movie really is all it could be.
That's
So
the,
like movie seasons, that could be really cool.
Yeah, I could totally see them doing it that way. I hope that that's the first movie they make. I hope that and again, yeah, like writer's strike and all that stuff, God knows when, but like I hope that the Filoni movie is the one that like brings Star Wars back to the big screen. I don't want them to bring it back with the Rey movie. I mean,
Well,
I
no.
don't hate Rey
Look,
at all.
Ahsoka is the best that post Lucas Star Wars has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Like hands down, the best.
Agreed.
And at that point, if that doesn't do it, then it's run its course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I would have to agree with that because yeah, they're not going to continue on the fucking legacy of Star Wars with Rey. With all apologies to Daisy Ridley, who I think did nothing wrong. But
No, she was great. I like her. I'm not gonna. If they did another movie with her, I'd be stoked.
I'd go see it. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with all that shit.
With all the problems that it had, I thought she was a strong character. So
You know what? I would tell you real quick, and we'll get things wrapped up. But if you consider the fact that like she had dueling writers writing her character, and through 3 movies, she was this, and then no, you're this, and then no, you're back to now you're this.
yeah,
If you did not know that all that was going on and you just watch that, she is so consistent as that character through those
she's
3
awesome.
movies. That's really just as an actor, take away what
I
you
would
think about
like-
the sequels. That's really good.
She deserves like her own very, very focused. Give it to Filoni. Really let him lock it down. Right?
Yeah, and 'cause
It would be great.
he would fill it with like Star Wars stuff that would connect it all.
Actual
to-
Star Wars stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, not just like surface level things.
No, right,
like
right.
actual deep
Yeah.
shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, God love him. I'm so happy about these first 2 episodes. I was kind of I don't know if nervous is the word, but I was like, I know that there's probably a lot riding on this show for a lot of people, and I think Charlie, I think we share this. Is like we just want to hang out in that universe and be told a good story. It's not like we're not nitpicking every little thing. If there's shit we don't like, there's shit we don't like, but like we're not worried about this isn't the same as a book that came out in 1995 type of stuff. And I feel like this show so far aces on all of that. Yeah, there's a couple things that we talked about, little pacing and the lightsaber stab.
By
and
the
all that,
time
but
you have watched the whole thing, you're going to be very happy with it.
that is all I ask for. Just
It
deliver
was
to the
needed
end.
so that we could do all this stuff later fast.
And I mean, yeah, it's you have to introduce this thing. That's my only issue with Star Wars as a TV show is in general is that we grew up with them as movies, and you get your beginning, middle, and end, and now it's like, where is this all going to go? Which is a lot of fun too, though. So you get that out of it, because we get.
You didn't get the chance to do all this.
We did not. No, I mean,
It's in the movie
between
theater. You're
movies.
going to find out in 5 minutes.
Right. And we could speculate about what the next movie was going to be about, but that's a totally different
Yeah.
type of thing. So
Yeah.
we will talk more about this show before it's over. Right?
Yes.
We'll regroup maybe after.
I mean,
episode
despite like you
4 or
needing to
5.
get called to like this just in, aliens have landed, and you need to steer away from the pop talk part of your show and steer back into aliens, which I understand. So,
Any minute it
but
might
if not,
happen.
yeah, I think like depending on what happens in episode 5, even we might need to talk again.
Or if maybe if 4 is like the surprise, oh my God episode, then maybe we got to talk then. I'm assuming probably the next time we'll talk about will be after episode 5, because again, like you said, Filoni's directing it. Something's going to go down. It's not going to be some random, more conversations with Sabine episode.
No, it's not. No,
Like,
we're not going to be dealing with her post-teenage should have gotten over it by now angst for sure.
Right. Yeah. That I think we've crossed that bridge, and it's all gonna just be great Star Wars from here.
Throw it out. Yep.
Charlie,
Good
thanks
stuff, buddy.
Thanks for coming back, buddy. Missed you being on the show, and I know that everyone will be happy to hear you again, and we'll talk to you again soon. By the way, the only reason we're not doing this in person was because I was exposed to COVID, so I gotta keep it.
You got to be ready for when the aliens land. That is actually alien. You get COVID, so then when they're here, you can cohabitate without dying of deadly viruses.
Right.
It's like some kind of like an immune system boost.
Yeah. By fucking with your immune system, it makes it strong. It makes it strong and in tune.
It's like a vaccine.
For them, like for our relationship.
For them.
With them. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I think we said this to each other off, and not in this podcast, but like the idea that the first real specific government agency for looking at UFO activity was established in a COVID pill.
I know, dude.
Is like the opening of a Roland Emmerich movie. Like they're all sitting around and like, we've got to get the UFO task force because the UFOs they're dropping down this stuff to us and it's infecting people and here they come. Like, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That's right.
And I'm crazy.
Oh, and they're here from the multiverse that, brought to you by Disney, probably. So
yes, they're interdimensional.
Full circle, Bill.
It all comes together. Everything combines. Thanks for being here, Chuck. Cue the hot chick.
Pop Talk and Aliens, the William Clear Podcast.